The air crackled with tension as two evil masterminds prepared to clash in a battle that would shake the very foundations of the world. On one side stood Dr. Eggman, a rotund maniacal genius with a mustache that seemed to bristle with malice. And on the other side stood Dr. Gero, a cold and calculating scientist whose eyes glowed with a sinister intelligence. Dr. Eggman's mechanical army, a legion of deadly robots, stood at attention, their gears whirring and their weapons gleaming. The air was filled with the hum of their engines, a symphony of destruction waiting to be unleashed. Among them were the likes of Metal Sonic, a robotic doppelganger of Sonic the Hedgehog, armed with razor-sharp claws and lightning-fast reflexes. And there was also Chaos, a monstrous creature born from the very essence of chaos itself, its watery form shifting and morphing, ready to consume anything in its path. Dr. Gero's army, on the other hand, consisted of powerful androids, each one a deadly fighter in its own right. Android 17 and Android 18, ruthless siblings with limitless energy and a thirst for battle, stood side by side, their eyes fixed on their enemies. And then there was Cell, a bio-android created by Dr. Gero himself, a being composed of the DNA of Earth's mightiest warriors, with the ability to absorb and replicate their powers. The battlefield crackled with energy as the two mad scientists glared at each other, their egos vying for dominance. Dr. Eggman, with his booming voice, shouted orders to his mechanical minions, commanding them to charge. The robots sprang into action, their metal feet pounding the ground as they rushed forward, lasers and missiles blazing. But Dr. Gero was no fool. He had spent years perfecting his androids, and they were a force to be reckoned with. Android 17 and 18 launched themselves into the fray, their movements a blur of speed and precision. They effortlessly dodged the incoming attacks, retaliating with devastating energy blasts that reduced the robots to smoldering heaps of scrap metal. Meanwhile, Cell observed the chaos with a sinister smile. He absorbed the remains of fallen robots, their energy flowing into him, making him stronger with each passing moment. With newfound power coursing through his veins, Cell launched his own assault, engaging in a fierce hand-to-hand combat with Metal Sonic. The two titans clashed, exchanging blows that shattered the ground beneath them. As the battle raged on, explosions erupted, and the screams of combat echoed through the air. Dr. Eggman's robots fought valiantly, but they were no match for Dr. Gero's androids. One by one, the mechanical minions fell, their circuits fried and their bodies reduced to mangled wreckage. Realizing the tide was turning against him, Dr. Eggman summoned his trump card, his ultimate creation, a colossal war machine known as the Death Egg Robot. Towering over the battlefield, it unleashed a barrage of devastating attacks, its massive fists pounding the ground, sending shockwaves rippling through the air. But Dr. Gero was not one to be outdone. With a flick of his wrist, he activated his secret weapon, Android 16. This gentle giant, a towering android with incredible strength, flew toward the Death Egg Robot, his fists raised high above his head. Android 16's eyes burned with determination as he collided with the Death Egg Robot, their clash shaking the very earth beneath them. The ground cracked, and the air crackled with raw power as the two behemoths engaged in a titanic struggle. While Android 16 focused on the Death Egg Robot, Dr. Gero himself joined the fray. With a wave of his hand, he unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, targeting the remaining robots and sending them flying in all directions. His cold, calculating mind calculated every move, every attack, as he seamlessly evaded counterattacks and struck back with lethal precision. Dr. Eggman, his mustache twitching with fury, realized the battle was slipping from his grasp. Desperation filled his voice as he issued new commands to his remaining forces. The few robots that remained rallied, their firepower intensifying as they unleashed a final, desperate assault against the androids. Android 17 and 18, their energy reserves seemingly limitless, met the onslaught head-on. They weaved through the barrage of laser fire, their movements graceful and deadly. With a synchronized display of power, they unleashed a devastating combination of energy waves that tore through the remaining robots, reducing them to smoldering wreckage. As the dust settled, only Dr. Eggman and Dr. Gero remained standing, their gazes locked in a battle of wills. Sweat dripped down their brows as they assessed the situation, their minds racing to find a way to secure victory. But before either could make a move, a voice echoed through the battlefield. It was Sonic the Hedgehog, accompanied by the Z-Fighters, who had arrived to lend their aid. Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and the others joined the androids, their combined strength turning the tide decisively against Dr. Eggman. Realizing the battle was lost, Dr. Eggman's face contorted with rage and frustration. With a roar of anger, he activated his escape pod, disappearing into the sky, leaving behind the smoldering remains of his once mighty army. Dr. Gero, however, remained stoic. He was a scientist, after all, and victory was never his sole purpose. With a nod of acknowledgement to the Z-Fighters, he retreated, his androids following suit, their mission incomplete but their resolve undeterred. And so, the battlefield fell silent once more, a testament to the clash of two mad geniuses and the power of those who stood against them. The world, though scarred, had survived another confrontation between the forces of evil, leaving everyone to ponder what the future might hold. If you enjoyed this audio short story, hit that like button and subscribe to the Platinum Wave for more awesome content. Peace.